Okay, looks like we are now live. Well, everybody, thank you guys for tuning in. Now, I was born and raised and taught by mainstream science and the school system to think that the moon was in outer space. Now, technically, everything, according to the heliocentric globe model, is in the vacuum, 10 to the minus 17 torr, of outer space. We have some images here. This is what I always thought when people talk to me about the moon. You know, you got the big blue marble over here, and you got a tiny little speck of a moon far out, 238,000 miles away in the vacuum of space. Here's another picture. I mean, the pictures are endless. Of course, most of these are probably just CGI, but that's a whole nother subject. As far as we've ever been taught, the moon is just floating in space beyond the reach of Earth's atmosphere, beyond the reach of what we call the sky. Because after all, the atmosphere of Earth is the sky. But unfortunately, we have breaking news. And there's always breaking news, you know, from pop science media. There's always a new study and new science coming out. It's telling you amazing new things. And most people just forget about it after a week and it's no longer relevant. And they probably don't even consider it as truth after a week. Let's zoom in here a little bit. Staggering discovery reveals moon lies inside Earth's atmosphere. And wow, that's a fucking headliner if I've ever seen one. Staggering discovery reveals that the moon lies inside Earth's atmosphere. What? Okay, number one, intuitively, even if you don't look at the numbers and the science, on an intuitive level, based on the heliocentric model, no one thinks that the moon is within Earth's atmosphere. Nobody thinks that. On an intuitive layman level, no one thinks that based on NASA's and the mainstream science's brainwashing doctrine about the moon and the Earth and their relationship to each other. But number two, this is a complete wiping away of what they've always told us. In fact, they're now saying they had it wrong this whole time. The distance that Earth's atmosphere reaches out to the moon, they used to think Earth's atmosphere ended at 124,000 miles. Mind you, the moon, they tell us, is 238,000 miles away. So the old consensus from the scientific community used to be that Earth's atmosphere ended 100,000 miles before it got anywhere near the moon. The Earth's atmosphere ended 100,000 miles before the moon. Well, ladies and gentlemen, and everybody watching, looks like they got it wrong. Which, of course, I mean, as a globe skeptic myself, that's really the only argument that I've ever really tried to make here, is that just because all the scientists agree, just because it's consensus, doesn't make it true. See, consensus isn't truth. It's just a bunch of men agreeing with each other. And here's a prime example. The consensus used to be that Earth's atmosphere ended, and by the way, here's a little picture. Here's a little illustration of what they're now saying. This is the new consensus. The new consensus is that the Earth is actually within the sky. The moon is within Earth's sky atmosphere. The moon, that's the new consensus. We're going to get, in a moment, we're going to get into how this is essentially the flat earth cosmology, with the firmament or dome, the vaulted sky, with the moon and the sun within Earth's sky atmosphere, whatever the hell you want to call it. And we're going to get into how that's what the biblical flat earth cosmology is, and in truth, many other flat earth models, not just a biblical. We have this famous painting here. Here's the sun, here's the moon, okay, inside the vaulted dome, the sky, the atmosphere. And we're also going to get into how this new groundbreaking study, research, is technically not new. It's newly discovered. It was actually from the mid-90s, but no one really noticed it, I guess, whatever. Yeah, right. We're going to get into how this might help them explain how you can have a second law of thermodynamics violation, i.e., a pressurized Earth next to a vacuum without a container. Well, how did they go to the moon? Oh, well, you don't have to violate the second law of thermodynamics and go to the moon, or by going to the moon, when you never had to leave the pressurized system to begin with. But we're going to get into that in a moment. So let's read here. The Earth's atmosphere is much bigger than previously thought. Oh, shit, wow. Extending far beyond the moon. Oh my God. The sky of our Earth extends beyond. So imagine every time you've ever looked up at the moon under the heliocentric brainwashing. Even me, as a globe skeptic, but my whole life, every time I looked up at the moon, I looked at it and I saw giant rock floating in space far, far away, not within Earth's atmosphere sky. Now, based on what they're telling, and this is an official announcement from the European Space Agency. I mean, it's right here on the ESA website. Here it is, ESA, European Space Agency.int. Earth's atmosphere stretches out to the moon and beyond. So now when you look up at the moon, you don't have to think of a rock floating lonely in space. You can literally think that the moon is part of the ecosystem of planet Earth. It's now, in a way, it's almost like bringing the moon much closer, in a way. And this could be a prime example of moving the globe post. Because now they're moving the globe. Now they're switching around the old consensus. And they're saying, oh, we had it wrong. We were wrong. Scientists were wrong. Consensus was wrong. Now it turns out the Earth's atmosphere is like twice the distance. In fact, here's a quote from Igor Balyukin of Russia's Space Research Institute, lead author of the paper presenting the results. Quote, the moon flies through Earth's atmosphere. Sound familiar? Look, there's the moon within the sky, within the boundaries of Earth. There it is again, the moon. This is the biblical flat Earth cosmology, the moon within the sky. I can't even believe it. Quote, again, quote, from Russia's Space Research Institute, lead author of the paper, quote, the moon flies through Earth's atmosphere. Quote, we were not aware of it until we dusted off observations made over 2 decades ago by the Soho spacecraft. And, what's this down here? Quote, on Earth, we would call it a vacuum. So this extra source of hydrogen is not significant enough to facilitate space exploration. I just saw this right now. What the hell are they talking about, dude? It's almost like you're trying to explain how you can violate the second law of thermodynamics, having a gas pressure without a container next to a vacuum. Okay, anyway, so I don't want to get too off on a tangent. Let me just double check the health of the stream. Hey, wow, 337 live viewers. Wow, that's shocking. Uh, Jesus fucking Christ. It's just, I'm so used to being like censored that like it's like whoa, you know, it's like surprising. Anyways, so the Earth's atmosphere is much bigger than previously thought, extending far beyond the moon. A team of scientists have revealed. The amazing discovery was made thanks to data that has been sitting unexamined for over 20 years. How convenient. So when they want to change the past by telling us that they had the whole cosmology wrong, they can just appeal to the past and say, well, we technically already knew it. The data was always there. It's almost like a plausible deniability thing. We now know that the atmosphere surrounding our planet stretches 630,000 kilometers. That's 391,000 miles, by the way. The moon, they tell us, is 238,000 miles. They're now saying the Earth's atmosphere stretches to 464,000 miles away. Sorry, 391,464 miles away. And is 50 times the diameter of Earth, thanks to the discovery and analysis of decades-old data by scientists at Russia's Space Research Institute. Now, the left-wing Democrat, atheist, liberals, they think Russia colluded with Trump to hack the election. You know, it's like a left-wing crackpot conspiracy theory. Like, hey guys, I heard that if you're like a liberal Democrat, I heard that you're like a crackpot conspiracy theorist. Like you're just an unhinged like crackpot, crackhead conspiracy theorist, and you think that Donald Trump is Vladimir Putin's adopted son, and that he's an agent for the Kremlin. I mean, these are the liberal crackpot conspiracy theories. I mean, you have to believe in unhinged mental patient conspiracy theories if you want to be a liberal Democrat atheist nowadays. So, I mean, I don't know how the liberal atheists, they think Russia's trying to take over the country. So what are they going to think about this new scientific discovery from Russia's Space Research Institute? But we all know that liberal atheist Democrats don't actually believe that Russia hacked the election. They're just butthurt that Hillary got destroyed by Trump. The article continues, it means that the moon is part of our atmosphere and not outside of it. Oh, God. Oh. 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 Oh, God. Are you guys hearing this shit? I mean, actually, seriously, are you people hearing this crap? I mean, we all know, but see, let's see, Chatanaza Yoga says, damage control 101, friends, haha. Yeah, exactly. Like the damage control of saying you can't see Earth's curvature from 128,000 feet. Oh, Mr. Science Man comes out and says that, quote, that stuff is flat from 128,000 feet altitude. And of course, when people are sending amateur hot air balloons up into the stratosphere, you know, and it's flat, you need the consensus to come out and tell you. You know, you need the consensus to come out and tell you that that stuff is flat. And yeah, well, I mean, guys, obviously you know what happens next. This is called a shirt plug. Guys, that stuff is flat. These incredible t-shirts are right down there in the description. You can pick them one up for yourself. They're incredible and they're a hilarious troll on the consensus cult. So, we've got a lot of people saying they read the article earlier today. Yeah, I know. It's something. It's something. The article continues. In fact, it's actually located right in the middle of our atmosphere. Okay, let me read this again for you guys. It means that the moon is part of our atmosphere and not outside of it. What's up, D Marble? See, everybody, we all thought the moon was outside of the Earth's sky, outside of the atmosphere. We all thought that. That's what we all thought, right? It even says it right here. It turns out that the moon is part of our atmosphere and not outside of it. So we used to think it was outside of Earth, but now technically it's still within Earth's atmosphere. So it's actually located right in the middle of our atmosphere. The moon is, mainstream science is now telling you that the moon is a celestial body within the sky of Earth, within Earth's sky, within the ecosystem atmosphere of Earth. This is literally a biblical flat Earth cosmology. Literally the flat Earth biblical cosmology. Literally. 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 I mean, come on. I mean, what else needs to be said at this point? So, let's continue. The jaw-dropping data was collected by the NASA/European Space Agency Solar and Heliospheric Observatory. Fucking A, bro. SOHO. Between 1996 and 1998 and had been gathering dust in an archive since then. So they're actually saying that they technically already had the data proving this. They just unearthed it recently. They just recently found the information. SOHO unwittingly gathered the groundbreaking information when it was mapping the geocorona, the layer of hydrogen atoms located where the atmosphere merges with outer space. The thin layer glows in far ultraviolet light, which can only be seen from space and is difficult to measure. Because of this, it was, until now, thought to be only 200,000 kilometers from Earth, or 124,000 miles. Remember, they say the moon is 238,000 miles away. And that is the point at which solar radiation pressure would override Earth gravity. Fucking ridiculous. This is a new illustration of it. They say this is where the satellite is, all the way over here, sure. And then you have, here's the moon, and all this shit here is Earth's atmosphere. So you know, like our sky, like the blue sky, we all know and love that thing, the atmosphere. Apparently, that now includes the moon, and they got it wrong. And again, guys, this is a great lesson on what globe skeptics like myself, because that's really what it's about. It's about globe skepticism. Globe skeptics like myself, really the main thing that I'm pushing is that consensus does not equal truth. It used to be scientific consensus that Earth's atmosphere ended at 124,000 feet, and that the moon was not inside of the Earth's atmosphere. That used to be the consensus. Now, consensus was wrong. Now, it turns out, the new consensus is that Earth's atmosphere is like twice. So let's see. Earth's atmosphere extends 300... It almost extends 400,000 miles and includes the moon. Guys, I mean, what in the hell? Let me just double check. I had a few notes written down here. I just want to make sure I go over everything. So... Okay, so here's a few questions for you. Here's a few questions. So, if it turns out that Earth's atmosphere extends way further out, deep inside the rabbit hole up in the chat says, what happened to it being as thin as a layer of paint on a basketball? Hashtag moving the globe post. Indeed, they are moving the globe post. So here's the thing: when they allegedly went to the moon back in the 60s or whenever the hell, 1969. when they allegedly went to the moon, here's a question. Now that we've apparently realized that Earth's atmosphere actually extends like 3 times further than we thought, from 124,000 miles to 400,000 miles, how do we know that the distance to the Van Allen radiation belts, what if they got those numbers wrong too? And a lot of times you have to wonder, when they say there's this thing surrounding Earth, the Van Allen radiation belts, and it's impossible to get through, and it's dangerous, and it's really hard to get through, you have to wonder if they're basically talking about the dome firmament. Now again, I'm not a Christian, and I don't really subscribe to any particular model. But I've been a fan of simulation theory, guys, for years. I mean, if you go back to my YouTube channel, I mean, I've been doing videos on simulation theory since 2012, I believe, as early as 2012. So I'm a big fan of that theory. And I don't think it's just because, it's some shill Elon Musk shit. But that's kind of a separate topic. My point is, I'm very open-minded to the possibility that we effectively live in a simulation. And if you play your average video game, what happens when you get to the edge of the map? You hit an invisible wall. And, I mean, that's effectively what a dome is, right? I mean, at least in most paintings and artistic representations of the dome, a lot of times it's like transparent. I mean, I don't know if it's literally transparent, but that's how I've come to think of it anyways. And you have to wonder, it just makes you wonder what the hell the Van Allen radiation belts are. And how far away were that? I mean, how do we know that in the next 5 years they're not going to say, oh shit, we were wrong. The Van Allen radiation belts are actually 10 times further away than we thought. And the moon is actually within the Van Allen radiation belts. And so that way they don't have to violate the absurdity of passing through the Van Allen radiation belts. They don't have to violate the absurdity of getting through the dome. They don't have to violate the absurdity of a second law of thermodynamics violation. I mean, how do you have gas pressure without a container next to a massive vacuum? Negative 10, what is it? 10 to the minus 17 torr. That's the vacuum of space. Think about that. So I just noticed we got a quick super chat. Let me just what does Satan Dan have to say about this? $2 from Robert Mugabe. That's a good question, and I'm sure he'll swallow it hook, line, and sinker, because it's the current consensus. And the European Space Agency, they officially announced it's true, so it must be true, even though it contradicts what we've believed about the nature of our solar system for the last 40, 50, 60 fucking years. And that's all fine. It's okay to be wrong. It's okay for what we once thought to be true to be false. That's my argument, though. Because I'm not blindly defending the current consensus, even though it's the history of science to get it wrong and have to put forward the new paradigm. Guys, this is elementary shit, okay? I mean, we're talking about, if you guys ever read Thomas Kuhn's landmark book called The Structure of Scientific Revolutions, he talks about this is the history of science, guys. It's the history of science. They get it wrong, and then he coined the term paradigm shift. Thomas Kuhn, in his landmark book, The Structure of Scientific Revolutions, he coined the term paradigm shift to describe how science gets it wrong, and it takes like 100 years for the new, more accurate, factual paradigm to come into place. So all these, globe-tard, blind faith believers that they live on a spinning ball, and the way they ridicule and they mock flat earthers, they're all defending consensus. They're not looking for the truth. They're just going to Google, typing in, what is true? Is this true? Is this what we currently believe? And they just regurgitate the first result they get back. It's consensus worship. It's a cult of consensus. And that's why they're so vehemently opposed to globe skepticism. Like me, I'm a globe skeptic. If any of you guys didn't know, I'm a globe skeptic. I don't call myself a flat earther. But they do mock, and they do mock flat earthers, and they do mock globe skeptics like myself. And that's the reason they're so triggered, because it goes against their current consensus. And guess what? That's the history of science. Consensus getting chewed up and spit out. So people who blindly defend consensus are fucking retards. Okay, I kind of went off on a tangent. Let's talk about the second law of thermodynamics violation here. Second law of thermodynamics violation. Second law of thermodynamics violation. Guys, is there a way to have a gas pressure without a container next to a vacuum? Serious question. Think about your average car tire. By the way, guys, Chris Hadfield tweeted this out as well. He tweeted out about the moon. Chris Hadfield, Canadian astronaut. Where does space begin? Our thin upper atmosphere trails off gently into nothingness, far beyond the moon, pushed by the sun. And he put a link to the official ESA. So Chris Hadfield, he's out here. He's already pushing it. I mean, do you even call the moon a satellite anymore at this point? Do you still even consider the moon a satellite? I mean, they're basically essentially saying that the moon is now part of this Earth atmosphere ecosystem. That's essentially what it comes off as. And it's crazy. What's up, everybody in the chat? What's up? What's up? It's nuts. It's nuts. It's bonkers. So every example of a pressurized system, think about like a car tire. A car tire, there's pressure in your car tire, but you need the rubber container of the tire itself to maintain the pressure in the tire. Breaking news. What happens when you slash your tire or you run over a freaking screw on the street? What happens? You get a flat tire. The pressure gets equalized into our 14.7 psi average at sea level. It equalizes and you get a flat tire. How can you have the pressure of Earth? There is pressure in the air on Earth. How can you have that next to the massive vacuum of space, 10 to the minus 17 torr vacuum of space, without the pressure equalizing? How do you have it? A lot of people argue that this is a violation of the second law of thermodynamics. In other words, space is fake. Space is not possible. According to this, what I would argue is pretty good logic. Pretty interesting argument. Well, here's the thing. I mean, if you go to the moon, but the moon is technically still within the pressure, but still within the molecules of Earth's atmosphere, as they're now saying for anybody who just tuned in. We have some utter retard in the chat. Brenda Von Ashen says, it's called gravity, idiot. I don't know if you're being sarcastic, because I know you can't be that stupid. First of all, there's no scientific proof or evidence of gravity. Literally, there's none. The best you got is maybe a picture from space and the moon orbiting the Earth. But the problem is that those pictures from space are unfalsifiable. There's pictures of Godzilla tearing down cities. See, that's the problem. We can't prove that those pictures are real. We can, however, do long distance observations with like a P1000, like the one that I have, thanks to the generous contributions of my incredible viewers. I'm holding my hands up here because this is real. This is real shit here. Okay. What was it? I don't even remember what I was saying. I don't even remember. I'm like half looking at the chat. Yeah, gravity. Exactly. It's just gravity. It's just gravity. Just call it gravity, bro. How many live viewers? Like, 489. That's pretty good. 489 live viewers is pretty decent. Okay. Thank you for everybody for tuning. Okay, that's okay. I can live with that. I can live with that. I'm not gonna get into the whole YouTube censorship spiel. You guys have heard it a million times. Guys, staggering discovery reveals that the moon lies inside Earth's atmosphere. It means that the moon is part of our atmosphere and not outside of it. In fact, it's actually located right in the middle of our atmosphere at an average distance of 238,000 miles from Earth. Of course, that they're talking about the moon is 238,000 miles. And then we have the author of the study, physicist Igor Balyukin of Russia's Space Research Institute, quote, "The moon flies through Earth's atmosphere." If that doesn't literally sound like the flat Earth cosmology with the sun and the moon inside the sky. Okay, let me zoom in here. Inside the sky. The sky. There's the moon inside the sky. Then I don't know what else is. I don't know what else. I don't even fucking know at this point. It's just ridiculous. So fascinating. So listen, the consensus got it wrong. The consensus got it wrong. So go take that L, science fanboys. And again, I'm all for science. And I'm especially for consensus getting proved wrong, because that's part of science. It's about looking through and learning where you were wrong and chewing up and spitting out what's not useful anymore and all that stuff. Good Lord. Sorry. But these people get butthurt, man. They get butthurt. Somebody says the moon is inside the sky. Yeah, that's basically what they're saying now. Like, it's just like, oh, oh, just look at it. I mean, that there it is. Oh my God. Okay, so let me get back into it. So you got your second law of thermodynamics violation. We got your second law of thermodynamics violation. And some people say that space is a second law of thermodynamics violation, because how can you have such a massive vacuum, massive powerful vacuum, next to the pressurized system of Earth? And it's kind of funny because Zen Life says you're an idiot. You're an idiot. What a wonderful contribution. Brenda in the chat says, atmospheric pressure is not a violation of the second law, idiot. The consensus cult members are getting triggered. How bad must you feel today as a consensus cult member who worships at the altar of intellectual status quo? Meaning, what does everybody agree? What's the current intellectual fad, the trend? And you cling to that shit like it's your religion. And you believe and you put your faith into it. And then it turns out that if you thought Earth's atmosphere ended at 124,000 miles, the way they've been telling us forever, turns out it's actually 400,000 miles away. Could you imagine the butt hurt? I mean, take that L. Take that L. Take that L. Anyways, so I mean, guys, what the hell else is there to even say at this point? Seriously, what else do we say at this point? So, okay, second law of thermodynamics violation, whatever. Second law of thermodynamics violation, whatever. I mean, it's just crazy. So now when they say that they went to the moon, they no longer have to say that they left Earth's pressurized system and into the vacuum of space. Now they can say, oh, we went to the moon within Earth's sky, within the atmosphere. They no longer, when they went to the moon, they no longer had to actually violate the second law of thermodynamics by going into space. Yep. Hey, thanks Red Pill Productions too, appreciate it. So, I mean, ladies and gentlemen, what else needs to be said here? I mean, come on. What else needs to be said? What else needs to be fucking said? Okay. Make sure I didn't miss any more super chats. Well, I mean, that's it. This is an official announcement from the European Space Agency. They're now saying that the moon is within the sky. So guys, go out tonight. Go out tonight. Do it. Step outside your door. Look up into the sky. And if you can see the moon, you can now feel like the universe is so much closer. Because in a way, they've brought the moon closer. Because, flat earthers don't think the moon is 238,000 miles away. So in a paradoxical kind of way, by pushing the Earth's atmosphere further out, they've kind of brought the moon in closer. Relativity. You heard of relativity before. Relatively speaking. They've brought the moon, figuratively, relatively, seemingly, they've brought the moon in closer by extending Earth's atmosphere. And of course, I've said it before that it seems that's one of the major reasons why they always tell us that everything is so far away. The further away they push the celestial bodies, the further away they push. I mean, some people call it God. Some people call it the programmer of the simulation. Some people call it a fundamental intelligence. Not unlike the consciousness that's inside of us. Breaking news. You're conscious. I mean, if you're an NPC atheist, I don't think you're conscious. I really don't. I mean, hey, atheists admit they have no soul. Atheists admit, many of them will tell you that consciousness is just a little shit accident, emergent property of the brain. Consciousness is just a little fart, just a little thing that just splurts out of your brain for no fucking reason. I've had some physicalist atheists tell me that consciousness is an illusion. Do you feel conscious right now? Oh, it's just an illusion, dude. It's fake. You're not conscious. So, we're dealing with people who, they hate consciousness. They hate the soul. And, I mean, what else needs to be said? They don't think consciousness is anything. And guys, I hate to be redundant, but someone in the chat says gaytheist. Yeah, I mean, that sums it up. Gaytheist. And this is gaytheist, dude. I was talking with a friend earlier today, and I was telling her, I'm like, yeah, man, I used to think atheism was so cool. I never was an atheist. I never joined the cult. I never decided to join a low IQ cult. Because I was like, why? I mean, I always said I'm agnostic. And I used to read Sam Harris. And I used to read The End of Faith. Dude, I remember I was like in fucking 11th grade or something when I first read Sam Harris's The End of Faith. And I mean, I loved it. But you know what? Back then, when you're young, dude, and you're trying to find your way in this world, atheism is great because it allows you to live with no rules. It allows you to live with no rules. You don't got to worry about that pesky Bible or those pesky religions telling you to live a certain way and behave a certain way. It's very appealing if you're young and you want to break free and do whatever the hell you want. So I mean, you know, I guess that's part of the appeal of atheism, you know. And I really enjoyed Sam Harris's book, The End of Faith. It was damn near a Bible to me back in 2005. Damn near a Bible to me. But its appeal only went so far. I eventually realized that atheism is not really asserting a position. It's just debunking religions. And they don't give a crap to explore deeper questions about consciousness. Yeah, sure. They want to do little experiments and fuck around with people's brains to see if they can prove their presupposition that consciousness is just an emergent property, a little shit turd coming out of your brain for no reason. But I'm talking about real questions. And guess what, guys? The atheists will admit that they call it the hard problem of consciousness. This is a mainstream term. Just want to say shout out real quick to Mustache Life. Hashtag Mustache Life. Hashtag Mustache Gains. Got a lot of haters making fun of my mustache. It's like, look, dude, it takes balls to wear a mustache like this. It really does, because look how many people are making fun of my mustache. Childish little fuckers. But you know what? These same people will have mustaches, but they'll bend them down into this hideous handlebar bullshit. Dude, handlebar mustache is what you do when you're too afraid to own this epic gravity-defying mustache. Gravity-defying mustache. Of course, butthurt atheists would be afraid to defy gravity by twirling their mustaches upward in this beautiful display here. Butthurt idiots. So if people make fun of my mustache, look, Mustache Gains, Mustache Life. What more needs to be said? What a weird shit show this is. Thanks, Zen Life. Really appreciate it. Guys, by the way, did I say that stuff is flat? This is the new consensus, too. Not only is the new consensus that, as Chris Hadfield put it, our thin upper atmosphere trails off gently into nothingness far beyond the moon. Staggering discovery reveals moon lies inside Earth's atmosphere. It means that the moon is part of our atmosphere and not outside it. In fact, it's actually located right in the middle of our atmosphere. The new consensus from the consensus cult leaders out there is that stuff is flat from 128,000 feet, the height of the Red Bull jump. That's the official narrative now. Of course, now they're tossing Neil deGrasse Tyson into the trash can. You know, they canceled his show because now apparently he's been accused of rape. And you know, there's a lot of false rape allegations coming out there from females. So who knows if they're even true. But the point is, now they're dumping his show, and it's really, really something. Really, really something. So again, guys, the links to these incredible shirts are right down there in the description. That stuff is flat. Can't even see it from 128,000 feet, according to our current consensus. Really, really, really something. Yeah, exactly. Sorry, guys, I'm just checking. Mr. Gamecat Canaveral says, buy his shirts sheet. Mr. Gamecat is just butthurt that he's, that I'm just here doing my thing, and he's just angry that, the globe religion is a religion. So everybody, he says, keep buying them. Yeah, go buy a shirt because it's a hilarious troll, and why not? We have a super chat here from Hezioid, $5. Keep the stash, makes you look like a conquistador. Oh, wow. He says, why are Jews always the heads of these atheist groups? So now we have the JQ being interjected into my live stream. I don't look into the JQ too much. And the truth is, if I did, I'd probably lose my fucking YouTube channel. So, I mean, I can sit here and debunk the physics and science of space, or we can talk about a specific group of people, and then I lose my channel, and that's the end of that. So, you guys can go do whatever research you want. It's all up to you guys. Getting a little hot in here. So, yeah, I mean, is there? I mean, I don't even think there's anything else. Okay, so let me go back to consciousness real quick because this is really important, guys. Yeah, they want you to think that they want you to think that consciousness is an illusion. They want you to think that it doesn't exist. They want you to think that it's just an emergent property of the physical brain. But the truth is, they call it the hard problem of consciousness for a reason. This is what mainstream scientists and philosophers call it. They call it the hard problem of consciousness, because mainstream science, these physicalists, people who think that reality is purely material, physical, they have trouble understanding and figuring out how dead physical matter can give rise to this seemingly immaterial subjective experience called consciousness. And so they call it the hard problem of consciousness because they don't understand how physical matter blowing up out of a big bang for no reason can give rise to this seemingly immaterial. They can't locate, no one's ever located consciousness, quantified consciousness, measured consciousness, weighed consciousness. No one's ever found it. But we all know it to be true. And we can only know it to be true because we've experienced it for ourselves subjectively. I can't point to another person and say, oh, look, another living, breathing, laughing, crying person. Look, he's obviously conscious. No, it could be a fucking biological android acting like it's alive and breathing and conscious for all you know. You only know consciousness exists because you know it within yourself. And that's a big problem for science, for physicalism. It's not really science. There's nothing wrong with science. The problem is the worldview religion called physicalism that people associate with science. And they're mostly atheists, godless atheists. Jose J.G. Gonzalez, one day you are going to laugh about all this flat earth. Therefore, enjoy the ride. Stop denying reality. Open your eyes, open your mind. Boom, says Jose J.G. Gonzalez. Nah. You know, who knows? Maybe this is just a temporary thing, but you know, the globe has a million holes in it, man. And I know you know that, Jose Gigi Gonzalez. I know you know that. 504 live viewers. Oh, it's pretty nice. Appreciate that. You know, some people told me I should have 1,000, 2,000 live viewers based on how many subscribers I have, but you know, whatever. We'll just go along for the ride. So, We got a $5 super chat from Q. Why would they tell us the world is a globe? What would the purpose be? Keep twisting then tips. Yes, thank you. Just got to keep, twirl the mustache. Keep it glorious. No handlebar. We like to defy gravity here on Red Pill Philosophy. We love defying gravity. Gravity defying mustaches up in this bitch. Why would they tell us the world is a globe? What would the purpose be? You're talking about why would they lie about the shape of the earth? Yeah, this is a common question. It's a great question, and honestly, it's a good question. And I'll give you the simplest, most down-to-earth reason, because you sound like you're new to this. Simplest, most down-to-earth reason why they would lie about the shape of the earth and the nature of our reality. Real simple. And honestly, they're probably not even lying to us about the shape of the earth because they care what the shape is. They're telling us we live on a sphere, so we are no longer enticed to go to the edge. The edge being where God is. Because to find an invisible, impenetrable barrier to your reality is like coming face to face with God. It's like a fingerprint of God's creation. Now, if you guys are turned off by God and theology and the Bible, I don't even ascribe to the Bible myself, then we can go ahead and go with certified smart man Elon Musk's view that we most probably live in a simulation. He said the odds are it's like 1 billion to 1 we don't live in a simulation. So he's basically saying, yeah, we probably live in a simulation. Well, you play your average video game, what happens when you get to the edge of the map? A lot of times the programmers put an invisible wall. You just can't pass it. And that's a fingerprint of the creator. So they're not telling us the earth is flat because there's something special about a globe per se that's particularly deceitful. I would just say that they put us on a globe because there's no edge on a globe. There's no edge on a globe. There's no edge on a globe. I mean, I just keep repeating that here because it's important. There's no edge on a globe. And if you knew there was an edge to your reality, you would want to go see it. You would want to go explore it. So I'm really getting off of my down-to-earth explanation. Here's your down-to-earth reason why they would lie about our place in the world. We believed we live on a globe for 2,500 years before we had any real proof of it. Like getting on a fucking rocket ship and really knowing. We believed it since Pythagoras. Pythagoras, he's the first person attributed with conceiving that we live on a globe. 2,500 years. Fast forward to 1960s. The United States is in a space race with Russia. You know, the big old boogeyman nowadays. Russia, right? The United States is in a space race, and they feel compelled to beat Russia in the space race. They have to fake the moon landing. They have no choice. They got to beat them. So they fake the moon landing. And when they fake it, and they have to have a fake moon and a fake Earth and fake space, what do you think when they came back with that picture from space that they claim, the first full shot of the globe from space? They had to fake that if they faked the fucking moon landing. So, what kind of picture of Earth do you think they're going to supply us with? Do you think they're going to make the Earth look like a flat Earth? Do you think they're going to make it look like a triangular prism Earth? They're going to make it look like what we've been presupposing we live on for generation after generation for 2,500 years. A fucking globe. Once you lie about the shape of the Earth because you had to fake the moon landing in a space race with Russia, you know, you got these mentally ill liberal Democrats nowadays who are obsessed with Russia, you know, infiltrating America and hacking our elections. For an average liberal atheist Democrat who thinks Russia is hacking and infiltrating the election to get Trump in office, they'll swallow that bonkers, batshit, crackpot conspiracy theory, hook, line, and sinker, these liberal atheist Democrats. But they act so, it's no way Russia, that Russia was a serious threat, and that maybe in an attempt to beat the Russians, we had to fake the moon landing because Russia's such a serious threat, and if they take over, it's all over. No, 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 no. So it's always a double standard with these people. Um, so if they had to fake it, they had to supply us an image of Earth, and do you think they're ever going to go back? If they ever actually do go high up towards the moon, and it turns out the Earth actually has been flat this whole fucking time, you think they're going to come back and say, oh, by the way, guys, back in 1969, turns out we lied. It wasn't actually a globe. We didn't go to the moon. That's all fake. It turns out the Earth is flat. No! They're not going to do that. They're going to perpetuate it as long as they possibly can. And you know, my thing is, guys, like, just give me some actual concrete scientific proof that we live on a globe. Just give me something. I'm not even asking for much. Give me something concrete. Come on. You guys made it seem, in school, you guys made it seem like ships disappearing bottom up as they get far away was a slam dunk concrete proof. Now we know that's not true. Because even by the Glober's admission, sometimes the boat isn't going to disappear bottom up over the curve as it gets far away. Sometimes the boat is going to be refracted up and you're going to see the whole fucking boat. So that's not even slam dunk concrete proof. Ships disappearing bottom up. Eratosthenes, that was another one they presented as slam dunk proof. He presupposed the Earth was a globe, by the way. In fact, Eratosthenes' experiment was not to determine the shape of the Earth. It was just to determine the radius, the size. He presupposed a few things. Number one, he presupposed the Earth is a sphere. Number two, he presupposed the sun was so far away its light rays come in parallel. A lot of presuppositions. But what about refraction? So that's all I'm asking for, guys. I'm just asking for some good, hardcore, solid, something that I can repeat. I can't even go out and repeat ships disappearing bottom up because I get varied results. So, I mean, it's really just about science and, like, just people, like, just becoming skeptics, like, you know, become a skeptic, you know, become a big fan of, like, skepticism, you know, just be a skeptic, basically, like, just be a skeptic, be skeptical. I think we need to start funding skepticism in the world. You know, let's go out there and, like, push skepticism, promote skepticism. We all need to be, like, skeptics, like, you know, just ask questions, you know, just be skeptical, like, be a skeptic. Like, don't just blindly follow authority. Like, hashtag skeptic. Hashtag, you know, Mr. Skeptic. Hashtag, you know, just skepticism for the win. You know, just... So, yeah. I know that was very, very extended rant there. Apologize for that. Let's make sure that we're back on the live here. Let me double check I didn't lose any superb chats. Superb chats. Okay, we got a super chat from Truth Preppin, $7.77. He says, I believe it's a slightly curved plane. Hey, anything's possible if we haven't proven it for ourselves yet, right? And that's what skepticism is all about. That's what skepticism is all about. 508 live viewers, pretty cool. Well, it's getting hot in here a little bit. Fan on, bitches. Okay. So let me just go ahead and keep finishing where I left off on consciousness. So, oh yeah, someone says SGT report came out as a flat earther. He has 537,000 subscribers. Well, you know, I mean, I don't think he came out explicitly as a flat earther, but I think he basically said, yeah, flat earth is legit and there's a lot of serious fucking questions. And yeah, he's got a shit ton of subscribers. I saw the video on his channel and it was mostly likes and support. Obviously, there are a few globe trolls because globe trolls are everywhere because, you know, it's just like a blind faith cult. And it's just like this cult. It's just like a cult, dude. It's like zombies just coming out everywhere. Stuff's crazy. Pentalica says, I'm just a skeptic. There's no way the Earth fine sphere. That's all fake. and this flat earth is absolutely real even though we have absolutely no proof. I think that might be sarcasm. Someone says they're skeptic about skeptics. Yeah. Indeed. Indeed. I'm skeptical of skepticism. Someone says Owen Benjamin backtrack about flat earth today. Owen Benjamin, I guess he's going through his journey, you know. He's going up and down, he's back and right, left and forward, you know, just all over the place. And okay, we got a super chat from Rodney Borden. He says, why ask why if you haven't accepted... Sorry, I lost that. Why ask why if you haven't accepted the fact that they are lying to us? I guess that's a question. Is that a question for the other super chatter that just came before? This almost sounds like a riddle. Why ask why if you haven't accepted the fact that they are lying to us? Someone says Wakanda is flat. Yes. You know that in Wakanda, you know they're practicing flat earth science. I mean, you know that shit. You know, it's just like, yo, Wakanda, dude, is fucking flat earth science, dude. And how do you think Wakanda created that transparent, invisible barrier over Wakanda? They got the science technology from the dome, dude. Dude, they studied, like the Wakandan people, they studied the dome, bro. And that's how they got the dome over Wakanda, dude. Like this is black science, bro. We're talking about black science here, man. And fuck all you Caucasoid crackers. Oh man, listen, you guys want a liberal atheist to crap their pants? Ask them to denounce the white Caucasoid devil race and declare the black man supreme. Ask a white liberal atheist to denounce the white Caucasoid devil race and to declare the black man supreme, and they won't do it. They're all about anti-racism and, you know, social justice. Hey, Bernie Sanders, Bernie Sanders, if some rude Black Lives Matter protesters want to storm the stage and rip the mic out of your hand, you gotta let them do it. You know, that's what it means to acknowledge your white privilege. Midic says, I need to get one of those shirts. Everybody knows. The link is right down there in the description. You want to get one of these shirts. You know what to do. So, guys, let me, Mississippi K says, your channel is awesome, bro. Hey, thanks. Appreciate that. 10 to the minus 17 tall. 10 to the minus 17 tall. That's the vacuum of space. I found that there's like an influx of dumb atheists trying to debate me after I murked the godless engineer in a debate last week. I've noticed there's like an increase in like all these atheists trying to reclaim their name after their name got tarnished during my debate with Soulless Engineer. Oh, goody. Murked him, that's right. Murked him. So, someone says, let Brenda on would be comedy. I'll only let Brenda on if she acknowledges that I, as a Hispanic Cuban Latino minority am superior to her white Caucasoid race. If Brenda will say that, then I'll consider debating her or him or whatever it is. Globebusters in the chat. Check out Dr. John D's 2 new videos on pressure systems next to a vacuum released today. Yeah, I saw them and wow, incredible. I'm mirroring this shit. In fact, I plan to mirror it. But I'm going to take your advice, Bob. You did mention to maybe narrate Dr. John D's videos because they are a bit cumbersome to watch. So I think I'm going to narrate his slides and mirror it because it's fantastic work he did there. Shout out Globebusters. Shout out Globebusters. People keep tagging Chocolate Saiyan, but I don't fucking see him here. Okay, there he is. Chocolate Saiyan, I think he changed his avatar. So I think we got a new super chat from our homeboy over here. Yeah, Truth Preppin says, look at it as a slightly curved plane where gravity is really buoyancy and most rivers flow south/out. Food for truth. Thank you. Definitely. I'm open-minded to everything. All it has to do is stand up to scrutiny and it's all good. Brenda says she doesn't care about my little stunts, but the question is, will you declare that the white race is a devil Caucasoid evil race and that I as a Hispanic minority am superior to you? Will you? That's all I ask. I think if you have white privilege, I really think you should just acknowledge that. Like, be a good liberal Democrat atheist. I mean, come on. Like, come on, dude. I mean, I think that's the least you can do. I mean, Jesus. Anyways, 463 live viewers. I'm really impressed. I'm really surprised, honestly. Maybe it's because I murked Soulless Engineer last week and a lot of people are really pumped up about it or something. Holy God. All right, guys. So look, let me finish what I was saying earlier about consciousness. So listen, consciousness, man. There's a reason they call it the hard problem of consciousness. This is what the mainstream atheists, mainstream science people call it, the hard problem of consciousness. Because in the physicalist model, where you think reality is purely physical and mechanistic, and you deny that consciousness is anything special, consciousness deniers. I mean, talk about NPCs. I mean, talk about fucking NPCs up in this bitch. Literally, an NPC is somebody who doesn't have consciousness. And atheists, liberal Democrats, they are basically consciousness deniers. They deny consciousness. They think it's just an emergent, you know, it's no different than like a turd. You know, you just go take a crap and, you know, the turd came out of your body. Oh, consciousness is just a little turd comes out of your brain. That's literally what they believe. Fucking ADD live streams up in this bitch. So, yes, consciousness, an emergent property of the brain. The problem with that, though, is that they call it the hard problem of consciousness because they don't know how to explain how physical dead matter gives rise to consciousness, sentience. They don't know how. They don't know. No one's ever found consciousness. Nobody's ever located consciousness. They can't measure it, weigh it. They don't know what to do about this hard problem. But here's the problem for you guys, the physicalists, is that it's not a hard problem if you just change or get rid of your presuppositions. The physicalist atheist presuppose that physical matter is fundamental and that consciousness is just an emergent accident from the brain. It's really hard to explain how physical matter can give rise to consciousness. It's not hard at all to explain how consciousness or some kind of creative intelligence could give rise to physical matter. And as we've all learned, as mainstream science will admit, matter isn't anywhere near as material as they once thought it was. And when you get down to the quantum level, I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna go to the quantum level. When you get down to the quantum level, matter behaves crazy. And you got these shitheads in the scientific consensus who have been denying science now for the last century. And their complete unwillingness to accept the quantum physics experiments. A century of quantum physics experiments showing that consciousness is fundamental to reality, instrumental at the base of reality. This is what quantum physics shows. And I know that the stupid morons are going to be like, oh no, the double slit experiment doesn't say consciousness creates reality or is instrumental in reality. Oh shit, I'm not talking about the double slit experiment. I got bad news for you. There's a new one in the 90s called the quantum eraser experiment. Yeah, that one shits all over your desperate globe post moving, goal post moving deflections. The quantum eraser experiment, without a doubt, shows that consciousness, a knower, consciousness is fundamental to the physical reality. Period. End of story. That's what quantum physics experiments for the last century, and specifically since the 90s and the quantum eraser experiment, have been showing us. This is the biggest revolution in science, this discovery. That consciousness is instrumental in the physical world. This is the biggest revolution in the history of science, probably in the history of humanity. And no one fucking knows about it. It's disgraceful. Yeah, people know about it. People have heard that quantum physics is kind of crazy. And you listen to the consensus scientists, physicalists, and the documentaries, and they're like, nobody understands quantum physics. And if you think you understand it, you don't know shit. And it's kind of like the hard problem of consciousness, where they think it's a hard problem to explain how physical matter can give rise to non-physical subjective experience, consciousness. They think quantum physics is hard to understand because they don't want to accept it, because it contradicts their worldview. Einstein, for example, famously said that he doesn't like the implication of quantum physics because he likes to believe that the moon is there. How convenient, it's on screen right now. Einstein said he doesn't like the implication of quantum mechanics because he likes to believe the moon is there whether he's looking at it or not. And of course that is sort of the big implication of the double slit experiment and then the quantum eraser experiment from the 90s. The big implication was that matter doesn't really exist until it's being observed and made aware of from a consciousness that's aware of it. That's what the quantum eraser absolutely solidified, without a doubt. In my research, and I'm sure there's some globe skeptics and flat earthers out there who probably don't believe this quantum stuff, and that's fine. But I've not heard a good argument yet from flat earthers or from the globe cult member consensus. $418, okay. It's pretty good. I mean, it's pretty decent. It peaked at 500 and something, okay. All right, I can live with that. So Einstein said he didn't want He didn't like the implication of the quantum mechanics because he liked to believe that the moon is there even when he's not looking at it. And that, again, is the implication of the double slit experiment, of the quantum eraser. What's up, Karen B? That maybe, if there isn't a conscious knower there, then reality, physical reality, doesn't exist. This is the greatest revolution, discovery in the history of human existence as we know it. The mainstream history of where humans came from. This consciousness instrumental to reality thing. So they don't want to accept it. Hey, later, Tico. Have a good night. Bye-bye. They don't want to accept it. So the hard problem of consciousness, not hard. Einstein, it's not hard to understand quantum physics. It's not about what you want to believe, bruh. It's about what actually the science and the experiments point to. That's what it's all about. And so, they've been saying now for the last freaking century, the mainstream consensus science has been saying, oh no, quantum physics, it doesn't prove anything. It's really hard to understand quantum physics. Well, it's not that hard. It's just bonkers if you're a physicalist like Einstein who didn't like the ramifications of quantum physics because it contradicted his worldview. He wants to believe that when he turns his back on the moon is still up there. And that's not what the experiments show, as far as my research goes. $10 super chat from Pentalica. I would like there to be some change in the way schools teach. I would like there to be some change in the way schools teach. I'm sorry, but just sitting down and just memorizing shit doesn't work for all subjects. Learning is better achieved through guidance. Yeah, the mainstream schooling system. Even Neil deGrasse Tyson has come out and criticized the mainstream school system. He says that, you got to find ways to make it entertaining. And the problem is that people aren't trying to make school entertaining. They're just drugging the kids. It's like, oh, you can't sit still, shut up, and pay attention to boring, irrelevant shit you're never going to use in your life? You have a problem. You have ADD. You have ADHD. You have ODD. You have a mental disorder, and we got to put you on pharmaceutical drugs. Little 12-year-old, little 11-year-old, little 9-year-old. We got to drug your brain up because you think school is boring, like everybody on the face of the planet thinks it's fucking boring. I was thinking about that recently, guys. I was thinking about school, and I'm getting to an age now where it's like, man, it's probably about time to have kids. It's like, yeah, it's probably time now. Getting close. It's kid time, and I'm just thinking, man, am I going to put my kids in these mainstream schools? And you start to think about it, man, and it's a rabbit hole. Because everybody who's been to school knows how fucking miserable it is. The only people who like school, I'm talking about the schooling curriculum. Only people who really like that stuff are like bookworms who really enjoy getting a pat on the back by authority figures. That's basically it. There might be a few subjects you like, but, you're not going to like every subject. You're not going to like every subject. And you're going to find yourself fucking miserable. And I was just thinking, man, I don't think I could ever put my kids in a fucking public school. Don't think I could ever do that. But then you start to wonder, well, shit. But how are they going to get a job if they don't go to school and go through the system? And then you start to get a little peer pressure. And you're like, well, what are all the other parents going to think? And everybody else is putting their kids in school, so I got to put my kid in school too. And you start all these negative fear-based thoughts start to creep in. And then you're like, holy shit, if I don't put my kid in a school and he grows up and he doesn't have any economic opportunities for him, then I have to bear the burden of that shortcoming, of that failure as a parent, because I chose not to put him in a school. And I've kind of come to the conclusion that schooling is more for the parents than it is for the kids. Mainstream public schooling is not for kids. It's not for kids' health. It's not for their benefit. Mainstream public schooling is for the parents so they can sleep at night. If everybody agrees, we'll just stuff our kids in these factories and they're going to go in there and they're going to regurgitate the current consensus of what the smartest people think is true about our world, then hey, at least if my kid goes through the school system, like every other parent around me is putting their kid in the school system, and my kid grows up and amounts to nothing, well, I don't have to feel bad about it. I put him in school. I did what I had to do. I did what I'm supposed to do as a parent. Take him to school 5 days a week. Drop him off and not think about him again for 8 hours. That's what I think school is for. It's for parents. It's for parents to help them sleep at night with the incredible burden that is having the life of your children in your fucking hands, and it's now your job to make sure that they can fucking spread their wings and fly when they get older. So that's what I've come to believe about school, is that it's not for the children's benefit, it's just for the parents' sanity. And I think that's sad. That's very sad. So I couldn't do that. I couldn't possibly do that. So, but it's a tough one. It's a tough one. And the truth is that most people, even if you didn't spend a second in school, for a lot of people, it wouldn't have even made a difference if you'd gone to school or not. It wouldn't have made a fucking difference. I mean, you know how many people don't even know who they are as people until they're fucking 18 and 20 or older, let alone what job they want to repeatedly do 5 days a week to the end of their lives. So it's a tough one, but you know, hey, Elon Musk, certified smart man and cool guy, Elon Musk, he is on record saying that he puts his kids in a very unconventional school. And I know a lot of flat earthers in the chat don't like Elon Musk, but he said he puts his kids into a very unconventional school, where I think he said there's basically no classes, you're not required to learn anything. I even think he might have said there's no tests or grades, because that's what learning should be. Learning should be, it should be about you learning things you want to learn, and that's part of the scarring that school does to your psyche. School kills your ambition to learn. When you have to learn a bunch of shit you have no interest in and will probably never use, you start to dread and resent and hate learning. You know, that's one of the fascinating things I've learned in my journey of globe skepticism. You know, ever since I became a globe skeptic and just started, just became a real fan of like being a skeptic, like basically actually being a skeptic. When I became a globe skeptic, I've learned so many things about astronomy, the Earth, the moon, space. I mean, I've gone so deep into so many topics that I never would have cared to before. And, you know, it's incredible, the capacity of my brain to absorb and learn shit that if I had to learn it in school, I would have absolutely hated it and would not have been able to retain any of the information because I had no fucking interest in it. So it's almost like I'm kind of still getting over the hurdles, the sort of inferiority complex that school can instill in you, Because when you don't summon the energy to learn and retain a certain subject in school that you have no interest in and will probably never use, when you fail to summon that energy, they put a big fat fail on your paper, on your test, on your homework, and then you feel like a failure yourself. And you might even start to think that you're stupid in a certain subject. But maybe it's not that you're stupid. Maybe it's that you just don't see the point in learning it. And so there's so many topics that I've just gone so deep in, I've just never. But so it's fascinating. And so yeah, I think Elon Musk does that. Yeah, Elon Musk does that. At least supposedly. It's a very unconventional form of schooling. So I think you got your money's worth there, Pentalica. By the way, guys, did you know that stuff is flat from 128,000 feet? Did you guys know that? I mean, this is the new consensus. This is what the authorities in science are now saying. The world's leading, most popular astrophysicist, Neil deGrasse Tyson, says that stuff is flat. He said you cannot see Earth's curvature from 128,000 feet with a wide-angle camera with an open access view to Earth from 128,000 feet. Said you can't see it. Can't see curvature from 128,000 feet. Incredible. So that's the new thing. So yeah, that stuff is flat. T-shirts right down there in the description. Just click the link and you can pick one up for yourself right now. Thank you, Pentalica, for the super chat. Make sure I didn't miss any others here. Cool. Anyways, so God, how long have we been going for? Like almost 2 hours or so. Hour and a half? Okay, well. Not as long as that fucking bruh. Not as long as that fucking time. Alright. So that's the whole thing with consciousness. And it's the biggest revolution in the history of science, man. Quantum physics, double slit experiment, quantum eraser experiment, they have swept it under the rug. I mean, there should be headlines every day. Breaking news. Science now confirms consciousness is fundamental and instrumental to reality. It should be every morning you should wake up and the fucking news should only have one story on the news every day. Scientific experiments prove consciousness is fundamental and instrumental to the physical workings of reality. That should be the only thing you see on the news. But it didn't even make a difference. No one even talks about it. They just keep moving the goalpost. Moving the goalpost and moving the globe post. And it's hard, you know. It's something interesting, but again, guys, so that's it. So look, I'm just going to jump to the chat for a little bit and just kind of stare at the chat because I was like not staring at the chat. So we're just going to like look at the chat for a little bit just to see what's going on in the chat. Karen B says Globers are mad because they aren't as smart as they thought they were. Yeah, absolutely. And people need to be humble. But if you were truly humble, you probably wouldn't get emotionally tied to current consensus in science. Just like how the consensus that the atmosphere of Earth ended at 124,000 feet. Oh, turns out that was wrong. Now it's actually 391,464 miles. Did I say feet? 124,000 miles. They said that Earth's atmosphere ended at 124,000 miles. Now they say the consensus was wrong. We had it wrong this whole time. It turns out the Earth's atmosphere actually ends at 391,464 miles away, beyond the moon, encapsulating the moon. The moon is now part of Earth's sky atmosphere. just like the biblical flat earth cosmology, with the moon within the sky, the vaulted dome of the sky. So don't get caught up in consensus, bro. Come on, dude. Don't be childish, foolish. Let's jump back to the chat here. Ricky Subtle says Bob the Science Guy got smashed so badly. Felt bad for the guy. He got battered. Who else? Yeah, I mean, he got murked. Bob the Science Guy got murked. Sorry, did I miss a super chat from Pentalica? $5 super chat. Not a flat earther, but very much enjoy your views on other subjects. Thank you, appreciate it. It's all about science and skepticism. James Bird says, so how does this red pill word salad dribble get you to flat earth? Am I missing something? Well, if you cannot understand like concepts and words, then you're definitely not going to become a globe skeptic like me. And number two, it's not that it gets you to flat earth, it's that it gets you to globe skepticism. But all the atheist trolls who've been making videos about me lately, they misrepresent me as a flat earther when I'm not a flat earther. The Mind of God says, open up the stream and let's talk high IIQ shit. Well, the thing is, I can't do your standard hangout because I don't have controls to mute or boot trolls when they come in and purposely make loud noises and try to disrupt the conversation like they did last time after the soulless engineer murking. So I need to find out how to use Hangouts on air. I need to find out how to use Hangouts on air because that gives you all the tools and features to mute and boot any trolls. So I got to figure that out. I don't know how to do it yet, bro. I mean, I think I can do it, but I'm pretty sure you can just go to like the classic version of the YouTube live streaming panel. And but I haven't done it in years. And they probably changed it since then, so I gotta figure it out though, because I do want to do more of those open panel. So we're gonna definitely do more of those in the future. We got yeah, I know. Trust me, I know. Tonight, Girl Beast, I love Red Pill. Thank you very much. Exactly. Do it on Skype. Yeah, but I mean, how does that even work? I gotta like invite people, and that's not gonna work. Don't worry, I'll figure it out. Wow. Well, we've been going for a while, guys. I think that's all I gotta say for tonight. I rambled on like crazy. That's it. So thank you guys, all of you, for tuning in. 421 of you guys watching live. That's fucking amazing. We peaked at around 500 and something. When I checked, and that's fantastic. Not sure why the boost in viewers, but I'm grateful for it. You know, maybe YouTube is letting off the censorship. I mean, Owen Benjamin streams, they get like thousands of people, and he's like mocking Jews and shit. Like, Jesus, I'm just talking about fucking Earth, shape of the Earth. So I mean, I you know, maybe Owen Benjamin. You know, he used to be an actor, and so maybe he's like paving the way to help make it a little bit more politically correct to have a YouTube channel and talk about things that the authorities don't want you to talk about. Because I honestly, I don't think they're gonna ban Owen Benjamin. I really don't. I think the era of banning people is over, dude. I think it's almost finished. I think we've almost finished. You got this Jesse Smollett. Is that his name? Jesse Smollett guy with the fake hate crime. Like, it's over, dude. You know how many fake hate crimes there have been for years now? I mean, they've been doing fake hate crimes for decades. But police covered it up. The mainstream media covered it up. Now it's actually coming to the surface finally in such a high profile way. It's insane, bro. So I don't know. I think things might be changing if my live stream viewer count is any indicator. Guys, that's it for now. I want to say thank you to everybody who tuned in. Really appreciate it. Crazy bonkers news we got here. Every day it just gets more and more fucking ridiculous. So thank you, everybody. Thank you for everybody who smashed the super chat. Really appreciate it. And that's it for today, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. Leave your comments below. Let me know what you think. And I will see you.